All right, welcome everybody to Resilience is Your Superpower. We have been here for the month of April talking to you guys about resilience. And just to let you know, my name is Mio Santana. I'm the owner and founder of Judys Journey, which is a transformational program. And I recently went through a rebranding of my company and also of my self-love program. And I renamed it Resilience. And the reason why I picked this name is because through my own personal transformational journey of over 20 years, I did a lot of assessments, a lot of personal assessments, a lot of identity tests, a lot of different things to try to learn about me and who I was. And in that, I asked a lot of people around me what they thought about me, what they thought my strongest traits were, etc. And most of the time, most people would say that one of the things they know about me is that I'm resilient. And so that always stayed with me. That always stayed in my mind. And when I was thinking about the rebranding of the program, I thought about all the women that have done the program, and I was trying to find a common theme, a common thread between them. And I realized that all of them are resilient. And so it just clicked. I was like, this is it. This is the name of the program. And so I'm doing this in honor of all the women who have done the program, and also for all the women out there who may be on a journey of their own of resilience and who may just need that little spark, a little something that'll get them going and get them on the right path to where they want to be in their life. And today I have the honor of being here with Judy Henriquez. She is actually a graduate of the program herself, and she took time out of her busy schedule to come sit down with us and tell us about her journey. Just so you know, this program is going to be on until the end of this week on Thursday at 1 p.m. and Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern time live. So make sure to tune in. And because of popular demand, we have extended the program into May. So we're going to be doing the program every Wednesday and Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern in May live. So I'm super excited about that. And without further ado, I want to introduce Judy. Judy Henriquez is the Associate Director of College and Career Counseling at the Bronx Center for Science and Mathematics. She's also a wife and mother, and she works tirelessly with teens to support them in finding their calling in their lives. And so I'm super, super grateful for having her here, for having her sit down with us and take some time. So welcome, Judy. I'm so excited to have you. How are you today?
I'm well. I'm excited and, definitely honored to be here with you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. So I always like to start the conversation with the audience kind of just getting to know you. So tell us a little bit about you, what you do, what you're up to every day.
So as you said, I'm the Associate Director of College and Career Counseling at a New York City public school in the South Bronx. Day in and day out, my job is to help students define their path after high school, whether that's college, career, or military. And then, as you also stated, I'm a wife and mother. I have 3 biological, in reality 4 amazing children, because God is good that way. And godmother and auntie to many others. So that's what I do.
Beautiful. That's amazing. So, resilience, we've been having such amazing conversations here with the women that have come so far. And, it's a common thread in women, and especially, those of us who are up to something and who want to make an impact in our lives and the lives of others and of those around us. And we always wonder, a lot of people always ask me, but what is resilience? Like, what does it take to be a resilient person, And so resilience is really a person's ability to handle stress, to handle failure, handle rejection, criticism, sometimes your own, right? Sometimes internal, and to handle life in general. So resilient people tend to be the ones that know stress happens and they learned how to expect it and manage it. And resilient people also possess something very interesting, which is a 4-letter word called grit. Resilient people have grit. And grit, the qualities that embody grit are courage, conscientiousness, and endurance. And so tell us a little bit about your journey that got you to be where you are now and being a college counselor and director and working with children. Like what led you to this journey?
Great question. And wow. I guess as with life, right, there isn't a straight path, and you don't necessarily know from the beginning what direction you're heading, or towards the final outcome. Or you start the path thinking of one thing, and it changes. And flexibility is one of the things that I learned early on. Adaptability, really. I went to college and studied economics and computers, computer management, that is, and was fortunate enough to have a job at a Fortune 500 company. And in one of the divisions I worked, it was amazing. The floor seats at the Knicks games, and my kids loved it, and so forth and so on. But after a while, it just got like old. Like I wasn't motivated to keep at it. So it was always asking and always seeking. So if not this, then what? And always believing that I was meant for more. I was a young mom to an amazing boy who made me grow up really fast. And because of him, he would look up at me with his big brown eyes, and I would be like, you know what? My parents enabled me or instilled in me this ability to, or this force, sorry, to keep going. So I have to do it for you. You didn't ask me to bring you into this world. And I always wanted to make sure that all my children saw an example in me. It wasn't about what I said, it was what I did. So in questioning, right, and like looking, trying to go back to school, if not, what for? I don't like this, I don't like that. I did all those personality tests, and was coming up with kind of like the same thing, service of others. I wanted to go back to school, but this time wanted to be more intentful. And some of my friends made me realize that, Judy, you're always telling mothers and fathers, like, put your kid here, put your kid there. You're always finding these programs, like your kids go to independent schools. Like, how do you're meant to be working with kids. I knew I didn't want to be a teacher. Still to this day, I know I don't want to be a teacher in the traditional way of in front of a classroom. So using my network and just talking to different folks, one day, literally out of the sky, landed an opportunity for me to open a college office. And I was like, what? Like, the only experience I had was mine. But this person had witnessed me help my son and all his friends through the process. And she's like, there's a class that you can take, you can do it. So, I went for it, and here I am. I'm not someone who takes no for an answer, or walks away without fully understanding what I'm asking or what I'm seeking. So, that's kind of like who I am. Like, I will speak up. I will continue seeking and come back and come back and come back.
Beautiful. So, wow, this is so interesting. So what was that thing, Judy, that you had to overcome, or what were some things that you had to overcome to get to that point where you actually took that step and started your new career?
Well, first were the internal ones, right? The self-doubt, the overcoming that can I do this? Should I do this? Fortunately, at the time, it wasn't so much a financial question, because I was married and my husband was very supportive. He saw how miserable I was at my job, and he could definitely keep us, going. But all the questions, can I do this? Why now? I took a huge pay cut. So it was all those things. And then, coming into a field of being older than when most people start, right? You know, people start in their literally right out of college, and if they're older, they've grown through the profession, where I was coming as a career changer. And that's kind of like the term that I held on to. I'm a career changer. And you know, those were two things. But along the way, I found many people who were very supportive and were welcoming. So overcoming, changing into the role wasn't. I think I'm trying to overcome, or I'm dealing with more now than when I started in the field.
Interesting. Yeah. And we'll get into that later about community. That's really important. And so what are some of those things that that you feel like you had to overcome within you, or maybe that are still overcoming within you? And when along that journey, did you realize that you were resilient? And if so, tell us about how you made that realization. What had you overcome?
Like I said, there's always the self-doubt, the questioning within the self. I mean, in life, there's so much I had to overcome, that those things came with me in the professional life, right? Growing up Latina in New York, right? Being a single mom at such a young age, and trying to make it into in the world, right? Trying to break all those glass ceilings. So as I came over to this profession where I didn't have the gender issues, because there are more women in education than there are men. But at my place of work, it still is very patriarchal, you know, structure. So, you know, and I wear it with pride. I know I was the one that, you know, will not take it. Like, I'm not going to stay shut. And that's a constant thing I deal with. I don't struggle with it, because I've developed the self-worth belief, right? To know that I can stand my ground, and I'm worthy.
Beautiful, beautiful. And, you know, along this journey of resilience and of overcoming obstacles and challenges within ourselves and with our environments, there's something that we always come that most of us encounter, but most of us don't like to talk about, which is failure, right? No one likes to talk about failure, but why? Doesn't anyone want to talk about failure? So what have failures meant to you in your journey? And if you can remember or name a few, and what did those failures open up for you as a result of experiencing them?
Failures, I think we all hear, right? And we all know, or at least I did. You know, it's an opportunity to learn. It's an opportunity to look within. Um, what's hard to deal with is when you're in it in the moment, right? That you can't see beyond, right? You're just like in quicksand. And I mean, for me, it's, you know, not that I saw myself as a failure, but I was seen as a failure, right? A teenage mom, you know, yeah, teenage mom,
In the
single
societal
mom,
sense, yeah.
yeah, teenage mom, you know, a single mom raising two boys, and then, you know, working in a school, and even before that, in a organization that was so, you know, misogynistic, for lack of a better word. And when I felt most like I shouldn't have done that, or why did I say that? Because that's something too that's kind of like looked up upon, in a negative way, where
Right.
you're an English language learner. Although I was born here, um, it's I was fortunate enough to learn early on that those are the times that you just like sit down and look within. And, for me, not to get religious, but it was very much about seeking within and prayer.
Mm-hmm.
So, and a lot of my friends knew when I was withdrawn, I was going through something, and that I needed to be given space. So, I know that's not directly answering your question of like a failure. It's hard for me to think of one right now because, again, I have been fortunate to turn everything that appears a failure into a success.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Is there a time where you felt personally as like you'd failed and then realized later that it wasn't really a failure? It was actually something that you overcame?
So right now, I'm going through something where I feel like I failed myself by just trusting somebody and really seeing that person as a mentor and so much more, and not realizing that although I was being mentored in certain things, there were also seeds of doubt and being planted in me, and
That you ignored?
what?
That you're saying that you maybe ignored them, those seeds of doubt?
I would look the other way or make up excuses, because
Right.
there were instances where I was like, no, like I can't take it anymore. And giving more light to the good things or the positive things that were coming from that relationship. And it was really hard to get past it, and even harder because of the work environment. But it did force me for the first time in my life to focus on me. Right. So that's the good that's come out of that. The good is that I realized that I was taking care of everyone else and not taking care of myself. And that, I was very fortunate, with the kids that I have, the husband, and even my students, like the current ones and the past ones, to say, you know what, it's okay to think of you. And that's what's empowered me to break free from, all those things that are happening, and to make the change. And as you know, because you're a tough cookie, every time I try to back away and be like, no, you were like, no, like look. And my middle son is very much like that too. And he's helped me in certain ways with the same things. So yeah.
Beautiful. So from that, actually, what people, or what you would think would be a so-called failure, it actually opened up for you something that was like a huge gem for you to realize that you were putting others first before yourself.
Yeah.
And how important it is to put yourself first, so that then you could be even more to others. Because if you're empty, if you're depleted, you can't be anything for anyone, So having that may be that like feedback that you needed, that wake up call that you needed, actually was incredible. And so that leads me to what I always like to say about failure, that I always like to call it a different F word than failure. I call it feedback. Because failure it's not a bad thing. It's just an experience that happens that you get to look at and see for yourself what happened and improve from it, and pivot and change and alter and transform, So that's why I always like to bring that up in these conversations, because it's so valuable to see everyone's journey. So once you've overcome all these challenges, all these things, and everything you went through to get to where you are. You were a single mom, you were getting your, your degrees, you were going through your different careers, a career change that in itself is already a challenge. You imagine doing it with kids and all those stresses and pressures. And you mentioned something about like having people around you that supported you along the way. And so one of the things that tends to happen with those of us who are resilient is that sometimes it tends to be a lonely path, because we are the type of people that we take the bull by the horns and we want to get it done, and we go and we like put on the blinders and we go for it, and we try to get it done at all costs by ourselves without anyone's help. And if anyone offers help, we're like, no, I don't need help. I got this, because we were so conditioned and programmed from when we were little to have this, to get this, to do it. And so asking for help is not always easy. And so tell us about your experience with opening up, asking for help, getting support, allowing people to support you, being mentored, being guided. Tell us about what opened up for you in that sense.
So I was kind of always referred to by my friends and everyone who know me as the networker, right? Like, you came to me, oh, Judy, I want this or I want that. I knew someone to connect you to. But like you said, it's easier to do that for others than to do it for yourself. And I'm also a school counselor by training. So it didn't help me having that background, because you never take your own advice. Like you just never do. But I think hearing, again, back to my children, hearing my children like tell me, even when I was just trying to, be the happy-go-lucky person, like, Mom, like, you seem off, like, you're not happy, like, these things and these things. It was like, oh, okay, it's more than what I'm going through at work, right? And I was asking for a lot of help around that, or guidance, and just people to hear me out. And then realizing that I needed to ask for help. I needed to use my network and even just my home life. I was spreading myself thin. My kids have always been involved in a whole bunch of activities, and I am never one to sit and do nothing, because I'm always looking to learn and to read and to stay active. But I was depleting myself. So it really took that, my own children, to be like, Mom, like, this isn't you, like, look in the mirror. And that also made me question, is what I'm going through at work because I am depleted? And yes and no. I mean, you learn, in hindsight, you learn so many things and you see it differently. But yeah, that's really what brought me to the point of asking help. And it wasn't easy. It wasn't until recently that I admitted to my children, and that I said, thank you for making me look in the mirror and get help for myself, because I was busy, helping others. And I love it. Like, I wouldn't do anything else. Like, I could, as like, I could be doing, this for myself, but, someone says, oh, Judy, I want to do this. I don't even let them finish when they want to do it. I'm already offering. But I've changed, a little bit in that way. Not that I'm less helpful, but I have learned through these last few months, starting with your program, that it is important for me to put me first. And that doesn't mean, we're conditioned, we're brought up, especially like as a Latina mother, right? And wife, you have to take care of everybody else before you take care of yourself. And I think one of the biggest or one of the best lessons I've learned, that is so not true.
Yeah. And so when you were asking for help, when you said it wasn't easy, and you mentioned doing the program that was helpful, what were some other ways that you allowed yourself to open up and to let help in or to allow somebody to support you? What are some examples?
Some of the examples are being aware, right? Like, well, first of all, understanding that asking for help isn't a weakness. That was, big for me, like to really learn that for myself, because I would counsel lots of students around that, but for myself. And it was different at home than at work. At work, I had to fight being seen as someone who needed to slack off. Like, I literally had to list everything. I had to really advocate for myself. I had to list everything I do, everything I take care of, everything that's not on my job description, and put, show that, to the principal and the rest of the administration. At home, it was, when my husband offered, I'll take, my daughter's an athlete, I'll take her to this. And it was really hard. I still have a hard time now. Like, oh, okay, you go. And, because a lot of times, even I would let him go, I would still come with. Help around the house. And because I have always done it all. And so, really it's still a work in progress, because again, I really took that term Wonder Woman to heart.
Yes. But you're allowing it. And so now you're experiencing a new reality, right? You're experiencing a little more ease, a little more flow, a little less stress,
Yes.
You're allowing those to come in and help you and support you. Yeah. It's super important. Resilience and success don't happen in a vacuum. It takes a village. We're tribal creatures. We're built to be in community. We thrive in community.
Yep.
So beautiful. This has been so powerful. And so I always like to leave the listeners and the viewers with something special from those I'm interviewing. And so if you think about our viewers, what words of wisdom would you like to leave them? Those who may be on a similar journey as you of resilience, who may be struggling, what words of wisdom would you leave them?
I would say, if you ever come to a fork, or you're at a crossroads, or you're struggling with, self-doubt and or just really going through a hard time, is to sit and look within, literally, like, take inventory, journaling and meditating. I think, I know they're buzzwords right now, but they really help you see things from a place of calm, versus being in that state of agitation, because you're in it, you're going through it. If you just, it doesn't even have to be a whole hour. You could take 5 minutes when you're having your coffee, or even when you're in the shower, and just allow yourself to go within, or through prayer. A lot of people pray, and use those moments to really get in touch with yourself, calm yourself down, and piecemeal everything, because there's really no way to tackle everything at once, or to you really have to take the problem, the puzzle, or the situation just apart. And they do say that Rome wasn't built in a day. and this is a great way to look at that, is you can only do but so much, and stressing yourself is not going to get you to where you want. So and ask for help.
Yeah.
Ask for help.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Beautiful. You know, the fastest way to eat an elephant is one bite at a time, right? So, yes, beautiful words by you, Judy. Thank you so much for being here. This has been amazing. For those of you out there, keep coming back. We are going to be here through the month of May as well. Resilience, a breakthrough journey to self-love starts soon. It's an 8-week program for women. So make sure to check out the notes in the comments and check me out and check out the program. I think you will really enjoy it. Judy, I honor you. I thank you so much for being here. What a pleasure it has been to have you.
Thank you for the honor of being here. You're amazing. Check her out, people. She's really, really something, a goddess and helps in so many ways. So I'm very appreciative of all you've given me.
Oh, thank you, my love. All right, everybody, be kind to yourselves, love each other, and we will see you here again soon. Take care till then.
Bye-bye.